There are promises once buried in tears and dreams that felt like they could never come true. But tonight, under the moonlight, the impossible is unfolding before our very eyes. Will Tuna find the courage to open her heart? And can Alex turn all the pain into everlasting happiness? After so many storms and heartbreaking rejections, a love that seemed lost in Tuna's fears has finally found a chance to come alive again. In the stillness of the moment, Alex held Tuna's hand tightly, his eyes filled with love. Tuna, I can't promise you a perfect life, but I promise to be by your side with you and Henry for the rest of my life. Will you marry me? The world seemed to stop. Tuna froze, tears streaming down her face, her heart trembling after years of being closed off. And then she nodded softly. Her smile lit up like the sunrise breaking through the darkness. The white wedding dress Alex had secretly prepared will finally be worn by the woman he loves. That poor little bamboo house now overflows with hope, because from this moment on, Tuna is no longer alone. Will their wedding bloom in tears of joy? Can this unwavering love truly heal every wound in Tuna's heart? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the most important moment of this deeply emotional love story. Late in the afternoon, when work at the company had just wrapped up, Alex didn't return to the office like he usually did. Instead, he drove straight to a quiet street where a stunning bridal shop stood an unlikely stop for a busy CEO. The glass doors opened, and the soft scent of roses mixed with the sight of white gowns that filled the space. Wedding dresses sparkled under the lights, each one carrying the promise of its own love story. Alex walked slowly through the rows of gowns, his eyes landing on a pure white dress, simple yet elegant. He pictured Tuna wearing it, her smile radiant with little Henry running around beside her. Just the thought of it made his heart tremble. A shop assistant carefully approached and asked, "Sir, are you picking out a dress for the bride?" Alex gave a gentle smile, his voice calm, but his eyes shining with resolve. "Yes, I want it to be a surprise. To me, she's not just the woman I love, she's my everything. And Henry, I see him as my own son. I want our wedding day to be the happiest day of their lives." His fingers brushed slowly across the smooth fabric until they stopped. He nodded firmly and said, "This is the one. This will be the dress Tuna wears. The day she steps into my life as my wife." His eyes glistened slightly as a smile spread across his face. Yet deep inside, there was still a lingering worry. Would Tuna have the courage to accept this love and wear the gown he had just chosen? Would this white dress truly be worn by Tuna at a perfect wedding, or remain only a dream locked inside his heart? When Alex brought the wedding dress home, he placed it carefully in his private room, hiding it deep inside the closet like a treasure. As the door closed, he stood still for a few seconds, the corners of his lips lifting into a gentle smile. Inside, he whispered to himself, "Tuna, maybe you're not ready today, but I am. One day, when you truly believe in happiness, I'll bring you to this dress and make it real." That secret was his alone. Tuna still thought of him as simply a patient man who sometimes asked questions that seemed far-fetched. If one day you were to wear a wedding dress, what would you want it to look like? Alex would often ask playfully, as if it was nothing. Tuna would laugh, brushing the thought away. "Don't be silly, Alex. I don't even dare to think about that yet." But what she didn't know was that behind Alex's quiet gaze, those questions were never casual. They carried a hidden plan, a steady love so strong it could turn that hidden dress into proof of their most important day. The dress was more than just fabric. It was a symbol of longing, of a burning hope. Would Tuna find the courage to face it and wear it? Or would it remain forever in the shadows, a secret never revealed? In the simple kitchen, the oil lamp cast a warm golden glow. Henry lay quietly in his bamboo cradle, stirring every so often, his tiny hands clenching the air. Tuna stood by the stove, gently stirring a pot of soup that simmered with small bubbles. Beside her, Alex had rolled up his sleeves clumsily, chopping vegetables, but still trying to be as careful as he could. Every now and then, he glanced over at Henry, his eyes soft like a real father's. Tuna looked sideways at him, a faint smile tugging at her lips. The powerful CEO she knew from the office was now carefully tending to each piece of vegetable, and the sight filled her with a warmth that stirred her heart. "Do you usually cook like this at home?" she asked, half teasing, half curious. Alex chuckled and shook his head. "At the company, I'm used to meetings and signing contracts. But here, cooking for you and Henry, this is when I feel truly alive." Tuna froze for a moment, her eyes misting over. After a pause, she asked softly, her voice heavy with worry, "But what about work? You've got so much on your plate, and yet you still rush here to take care of me and Henry. I'm afraid one day you'll get too tired and you'll walk away." Alex set the knife down and turned to look her straight in the eye. His smile was kind, but his words were firm. "Tuna, don't worry. I've faced dozens of tough deals and hundreds of intense meetings, but nothing has ever been harder than convincing you to believe in this love. And nothing has ever been more worth fighting for than you and Henry." Tuna lowered her head, a tear slipping down her cheek, though the corner of her lips curved into a faint smile. Her eyes drifted to the cradle where Henry slept soundly, his steady breaths like a silent blessing. In that moment, the small kitchen seemed to become its own world, a home Alex had always longed for, and a fragile hope that Tuna was finally beginning to reach for. The kitchen had already been tidied up. On the table still lingered the comforting aroma of a simple dinner-sweet vegetable soup, braised fish, and steaming bowls of rice. Henry slept soundly in his cradle, his gentle breaths steady his rosy cheeks like those of a little angel. Tuna sat beside him, gently rocking the cradle to help him sleep more deeply. Across from her, Alex sat quietly watching the scene. In that moment, the man who once signed billion-dollar contracts felt his heart tremble simply because of the tender smile of the woman in front of him. The room fell into silence, broken only by the chirping of insects outside and the creak of the bamboo cradle. Tuna looked up her eyes, meeting Alex's steady gaze. "Alex, don't you ever feel tired? Here it's just this run-down bamboo house, a plain meal. I'm afraid one day you'll regret it." Alex moved closer, sitting right beside her, his voice warm, yet firm. "Tuna, With you and Henry, I finally have a family. I've never once regretted it. The only thing I fear is you not believing in me, not believing in this happiness. Tuna lowered her head, her hand tightening on the edge of the cradle. Her eyes dropped to Henry, the child Alex always treated as his own son. Tears welled up as her voice trembled. I don't know if I have the courage to move forward. I've already lost too much, and I'm afraid if I lose again, I'll never be able to stand back up. Alex gently took her hand, lifting her gaze to meet his. His eyes shone with conviction. Tuna, I promise. No matter what happens, I'll never let go. One day, you'll wear that white wedding dress. Henry will be holding our hands, and together we'll build a real home. Do you believe me? The room went still. Only the night wind slipped through the cracks of the door, carrying a chill, while the flickering oil lamp seemed to bear witness to his vow. Tuna sat frozen, tears falling, but in her eyes, a faint glimmer of hope began to appear.
Em có đồng ý làm vợ hay không? Kinh nghiệm thực ra người phụ nữ đã từng trải qua bao nhiêu nỗi đau quá khứ, có đủ dũng khí để mở lòng thêm một lần nữa, để có chấp nhận tình yêu mà Alex đã dành cho từ ngày đầu tiên mà cùng Alex có nên một chương mới và đầy hy vọng cho bé Henry. Câu trả lời phía trước chắc sẽ khiến mọi